Good evening, Australia, and welcome to the DUANEO podcast, number 17. And we've hit double digits in the NRRRL theme. Who would have thought? But things are looking on the up. We're in the finals now for the Tweed comp, and the bubble has burst. Yes, of course, yesterday, the big announcements. We are allowed to be Queenslanders again as of next week. So bring it on. Unfortunately, you probably come a little bit too late as far as NRRRL goes. And if you're from Mullum and Byron at the moment, you'd probably be kicking yourself. But not this Byron Bay. And we'll bring on next week. We'll be able to mingle, for me, back in the homeland. But let's discuss the Tweed finals and what transpired in round 6 of NRRRL. None other than Michael Shaw. I won't say hi because I saw you about an hour ago when you almost tried to run me over with your Holden Colorado out front of Elements there, brother.
Yeah, well, I just saw a bloody vagrant walking down the street with his offensive T-shirts. I said, this man has to be stopped.
Mate, I had Kel Switch engaged playing through my headphones, and you there in your bloody aviators just thinking you own the road. Like, shame on you.
I can't believe you're not on house arrest, Neville.
Oh, well, I mean, we're not in Victoria at the moment. So, also Mickey Coleman, and of course, after you two boys have also had a week off, Crossy's earned a week off as well, and we got a handy replacement in Mitchy Craig, who has been around with the whole NRRRL scene longer than I can even remember, and of course had the big win with the Lennox Head Trojans on the weekend, the grand final. Scoop, did you bring a
Trojan for me?
Did you bring a certain prop with you?
No, I don't know where that ended up. Hopefully somewhere safe and sound.
So someone else is stroking the wood the past few days?
Maybe Beric has it.
Yeah. So let's put it this way. That piece of wood has not seen the light of day out of the Wollongbar Ballina Shire in the last 7 years. Well, it's still technically in the Ballina Shire now, I guess. But so how was it, man? Like on Saturday, how was that vibe? You told me privately, you said you had a really good feeling about it. And I guess I couldn't really say before, but I had a good feeling about it too. But I said in the call on Saturday that you deserve to be maybe the slight favourites, even though you took on 6-time premiers. But how was your vibe going into that game?
Yeah, really confident. Obviously, the boys had a really good win in the semi-final over Ballina there. But the whole season's been pretty good considering what else is going on. A lot of young guys at the club. A lot of guys got a couple over from league. Eric Barnes steering the ship. The coaches have been there a couple of years and knew what to do with each player and who was in what position, and you just get a feeling sometimes that things are going to pan out, and that's pretty much just what happened.
And that's right. And it's just, at what point did you know that? And I said this in the call too on the Saturday as well, that Wollongbar just didn't leave their own 22, and then you started piling on the points. What point did you know that when Wollongbar actually did eventuate getting into to your 22, the Trojan 22, when you just feel they can't threaten you guys? At what point?
Well, it was pretty much over by half time, wasn't it?
Yeah, well,
it's just
that's right.
Yeah, it was a try in the corner there. I think we got relatively. I think that took it to 22-0, and I thought, okay, well, things are looking pretty good here. Then another penalty goal. Then all of a sudden, that Beric, when he just floated across field, put the winger through. And winger has open run to the try under the post, 32-0. I thought, well, there's no coming back from that. So
that's right.
Yeah, it couldn't have worked out any better. But it wasn't a fluke. The boys worked hard for the last 2.5 months. We were about as strong as we possibly could be. We had no real injury concerns. We lost 1 or 2 players because of the border issues, but everyone's in the same boat there. But you just get that feeling some years. But and obviously the Lennox is no slouches. That we're always sort of thereabouts in the finals. But this year just a really good vibe in both grades and for the whole town, really.
Yeah. And more or less too. So you spoke about the border issues. So how much did that really affect you, really, as in, say, compared to, say, well, Casuarina was probably more affected because of where they are, but obviously you wouldn't say it would be more affected than, say, all the NRRRL teams at the moment?
No, nothing like NRRRL. The only team we really had to worry about was Casuarina in that respect, and they were beaten in the minor semi-finals, so that kind of took them out of the equation. Before then, though, they couldn't travel out anywhere down here for the last couple of rounds, so everyone went up and played them there, but that was probably only 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And in terms of Leno, we had Lockie Cray, he was a good player. He played shoot shield in Sydney.
Yeah.
And he was the only one we lost in the end because he was obviously working in Queensland, had to decide what he was going to do. But obviously work comes first. So we were never able to get him back, unfortunately. But he was a shoot shield player and, fast as, and would have been within our, if he played, he would have been our best 2 or 3 players when he was around. But to only lose him was probably a good thing. And I know Wallingbar, same deal. I think they lost 1 or 2. I think everyone kind of lost 1 or 2, but not quite the bloodbath it was with the NRRRL, put it that way.
Yeah. So sort of move on. Shory, did you want to talk anything in relation to the rugby at all before I bring up the next topic?
Oh, I don't follow the rugby really well, but I'm really interested.
Mate, you're missing out.
Mate, you were watching on Saturday. I gave you a shout out. Why?
Yeah, I was, but I don't know how much, Roy and HG say when too much sport is never enough. I'm starting to push that limit with the amount of bloody sport.
Oh, mate, you've been hanging around.
But,
No way.
So you covered rugby league and sports for the Northern Star for our region for how many years? And I'd love to hear some fascinating stories about that. And
yeah, basically a decade by the end of it.
Yeah, and so what was your role?
Well, I was basically in sport full time. Started out as a cadet when there was a bit more of a sports department. Then after about 3 or 4 years, I took on sports editor when there was a small group of us. But the way things panned out in the end, I was basically a team of one for the last couple of years, which made it tough. But basically covered league, union, everything really. So but mainly league and union.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So you've been at the rugby and the football every weekend for the past 10 years, watching, you cover it, you work with the teams, you get the scoops.
Yeah,
that's where
it was very strange this year when NRRRL got started, and I didn't have to actually be there. I thought I can go and watch, but I don't have to go and watch. But I've still been nearly every week anyway because I love it, and I like seeing how everything's going, and good seeing you guys around. And
have you noticed any changes in the media reporting and the media landscape around the local sports in the past 10 years? And what do you think now?
It's harder these days because of deadlines and you don't have the resources and the staff that you used to. So it is getting harder. And unfortunately, a lot of print titles have ceased operation during COVID and aren't coming back. There's over 100 papers across the country that have, by News Corp, that have been shut down from there. So you don't have your Tweed Daily News, your Northern Star, your Sunshine Coast Daily. You still have them online, but you just don't have them in print anymore. So you don't get those Saturday previews or the Monday wrap. You just don't get that anymore, unfortunately. But so it has changed a lot. Yeah.
Is there a way that social media and other media platforms can fill this hole? Do you see?
Well, I did all the social media stuff for our Trojans page this year, and I do a 60-second video gets 1,000 views within a day or two. So people will watch it, and there is a bit of a market for it. But it just sort of depends. You need to rely on people to sort of probably push the cause, a bit like how Mickey does there at Balamble, and how I've tried to do this year for the Trojans in my spare time. And but there's always the media landscape is changing, but hopefully there's a few things rising up from the ashes now. I'm going to start a new gig in about a month. There's a new magazine coming out called Northern Rivers Review, so I'm going to be on that full time and mainly doing sport there as well. So I think we'll launch by the end of the season. But touch wood, the next round 1 next year, I'll be back reporting full time on league and union if it all pans out. So
that'd be great.
Yeah, so I just basically had a year off, probably hopefully by the end of it.
As I was saying, we missed you in the sidelines this year. You're always there hanging in the box with us boys when we're calling the games on the Saturday or Sunday. So hopefully maybe you can get back there with the pen and paper and hang out like old times.
Yeah, well, I've been in amongst all the back to my roots, in amongst the crowd and Yobbo's Hill and the hill at Byron, just trying to be one of the people now. So
it's
just experiencing it again from the other side. You're
not affiliated with a team like these two, eh? So just.
No, well, when you have to sign the COVID thing in when you go to a ground, they ask you what team you're with.
Right.
I normally just pick Ballina or Byron because it's on the top of them. But
I just pick the home team.
Yeah. I do know a lot of guys that play for Seagulls, especially now that you got Kel Sheether and Zach Beecher. I've had them all of them in the rugby. So obviously Ballina and Byron I probably see the most of.
Yeah.
And my old man played for Maris Brothers, so I don't mind seeing a Maris Brothers game. So they're probably the three I see the most. I don't know as much about I don't see the Tweed teams as much, but hopefully going up on Saturday, actually.
Yeah. So, well, if
Yeah,
I guess,
cool. Come see us. I'll get you a beer.
Yeah, no, I said to this year I want to go to the Valley at least once, so I'm going to
yeah.
come on
Well,
Saturday.
he'll look
I reckon.
after you. Oh. No.
It'll be the day to come this Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, like, if it was anything like the last time that Blamble and Kudgeon play, you're in for a good time. I tell you.
I saw him play at Kudgeon about a month ago.
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
a pretty
yeah.
good game. Yeah.
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 So, and I obviously want to see Ollie Regan and Hayden Hanson go around again. Spackman, obviously, I was pretty impressed with the way he played. Obviously, he's no
just
slouch.
slowly
So.
grinning ear to ear as you're talking there. Mitchie's just getting.
Oh, mate. Jackson Springer.
Good day.
I like a good. They might have a bit of Trojans about him, the Lamble. But I don't know.
Cool.
So let's get on with. What was the last round between. Well, let's cover the stream game first. So whilst Mickey, we're getting him in a good mood. We're getting him in a better mood when we bring up some good memories. So, yeah. So Blamble pulling off the upset of sorts, winning 18 points to 10 over Moolumbar at Stan Seckham Oval. So amongst the try scorers, as we said, Mitch Spackman, Tyson Donnelly, Khan Rhodes kicking 3 goals, Thomas Vickery and McIntosh going over the stripe. McIntosh scoring towards the end, but though it was a bit of a consolation try. Very even game, as you'll probably remember, Mickey. It was a very even game. We were saying in the call that both teams were it wasn't one team just ran away with it. I think it all came down to discipline, but I think what the deciding factor in this game, and you might tend to agree, and just before we jumped on air here, I just had another look at that team list. We don't really pay attention too much when we're in the call, but once I knew that Joe Besgrove wasn't there, and I said that how important he is on a leadership role, I started looking at some of the names, and Cade Hill, Liam Cusack is only in his second full-time season. He only played 16, 17s, 18s a couple of seasons ago. Then you got Bailey Cox, he's a young fella, and then Ryan Foran, Riley Lack was playing. If that wasn't his first game, it was certainly only his second game. I think he was playing on Durboon. He's only playing 16s last year in the reps rounds. I'm just thinking, and I've said it a lot about Casino and stuff. I'm starting to think not to the point of Casino, of course, but I just feel that they lose Besgrove with that leadership role coming off the back of not having Caleb Howe, who's been the captain forever. And I just think just the little things where if they had had those boys out there, they would have, fixed up and scored points, if not put a lot more pressure on Blamble. Whilst Blamble, on the other hand, even though they've lost fair share of players, they look more established. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think so. It's no secret that Moolumbar didn't field their best team that they could have with their injuries and players being absent. But yeah, I think you're right. It was one of those games where even though Blamble led from start to finish, I was still a little bit nervous watching the whole game and just knowing Moolumbar. They had their chances and opportunities, but yeah, you might be right with that leadership and perhaps experience there where I kept saying throughout the call as well, it kind of just felt like Moolumbar were going too wide before they were going through the middle first. And it was almost like they were kind of playing catch-up footy from early part in the game, where if they had the experienced players and some more of that leadership, they might have slowed it down a little bit, went through the middle a bit more. But it was a close, it was an entertaining game, and it'll be very interesting to see what pans out next week. I'm looking forward to Tweed Coast versus Moolumbar because Moolumbar I haven't got anything to worry about heading into this final series, finishing second. They got 2 bites of the cherry. It was just one of those days, I think, for Moolumbar where they just had to get through the 80 minutes unscathed, and even though they got the loss, I still think it won't affect their morale too much in camp. So
and it just goes to show, and we'll talk about the other Tweed game in a little bit, but to think that the top 4, you'd think that going into this one, you think Tweed Coast and Moolumbar were the 2 standouts, and then Blamble and Kudgeon were sort of there. But I mean, anyone could still win this. Anyone.
It's really competitive, this conference, isn't it?
Exactly. So, did you catch any of the live stream on Sunday? What would have been an impending hangover and lack of sleep after Saturday?
Right. It was the things kept going until Monday, but I didn't do Monday, but I was still out there on the Sunday. So not this week, but I just wanted to ask, did Harry Fitzu play? Is he out injured at the moment, or?
Yeah, Harry Fitzer actually didn't play, and we
Yeah.
had the, I guess it's a luxury where Thomas Plater, he plays in the halves or hooker off the bench, so he started. And yeah, so even though Harry didn't play, you definitely notice when Plater's out there, especially in attack as defense. Sorry, he's a real good defender for a halfback, and it will be interesting to see how it pans out this week. I do believe Harry's back, and Thomas Plater, he can play anywhere he needs to. But yeah, it's even though Harry didn't play, we still kind of managed to get a few tries, so it was good.
Oh, Harry's obviously pretty good. He's obviously still learning his game, but he's got a pretty good kicking game. He's quick as. He's come back to the club this year, I think, from Coogin, hasn't he?
Yeah, he did. Him and his brother Alex spent a year at Coogin last year. So
yeah.
So Shori, so knowing I'm not sure if you watched the game or not, but knowing that, say, the likes of Joe Basgrove not featuring out there, and then the boys having to back up, I'm gonna forgive me, I forget even who was captain that day. I think it was Rob Shepherd, was it, Mickey?
Yeah, it was Robbie Shepherd.
Yeah, Rob Shepherd. Yeah,
he played real good too. He was easily
knowing that, Shori, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't catch the game, but obviously I'm a big Mustang supporter, and I know when they're on, and I reckon they can take this comp if they play on the right day. And for Blamble to beat them shows that Blamble are a top team as well, but Mustangs had a few players out, and as you guys just made mention, it's anybody's game. It's a very close competition. I'm excited for this weekend.
And you know what? Just looking at you, I think there you go. You're back, Shori. Like, we can hear you just fine. Can we just keep that still as it is? And so you're not looking all so smug talking to your other mates there at Newrybar tonight?
This is regional reporting, Dwayne, coming from the
regional
far
internet too, by the looks of it.
That's what I mean.
But as I was saying that, I just think and look, I'm not saying that Josh Campbell, I believe was a replacement for Joe Basgrove. He'd done a great job from dummy half, and I just think it was a bit of a leadership thing, and I think it plays a big part in the local competition that we have now. As I said, you throw Casino in that boat up until the end of last year when they were playing Mooloolah themselves in that grand final. How much Roy Bell at the time had an influence, and then they were only just starting to mould back up now after having a big win against Mullumbimby. But I think Coogins also another team you could throw there. But not sure why Joe Basgrove wasn't playing, but they've got.
They might have even rested players, coming into the finals. Anyone's got little niggling injuries, having a week off. Because if you assumed that Tweed Coast were going to beat Coogin, it's going to make no difference to the standings either. So we just don't know. I wouldn't be too worried if I was them.
But a home final, though, in week one. But I said this a week ago, Mickey, that I reckon it all comes down to between Raiders and Mustangs. It comes down to who hosts, in my opinion. So I reckon there's still a little bit to play for, but. And when we'll get into this game between Coogin and the Raiders from the weekend, it was I think Coogin, and so we'll get into that. Yeah, so I thought, despite the scoreline, I thought Coogin for the majority of the game were the better team.
Yeah, I had a quick look at that one before we jumped on air, and it was they got out to the earlier leads. I mean, it was 8-0 to Tweed Coast with that penalty goal, but they scored 2 tries in quick succession, but unfortunately didn't kick any of their goals, so it was 8-all. And then Coogin looked like they were on the attack again. It was just an unfortunate penalty where I think it was one of the young Bryant kids. He kind of grabbed Dan Willoughby at marker when he had the ball and pulled him back, and he really went flying. So either one of them was leading a bit stronger than he's leading on to be, or one of them was kind of, milking it a bit. But it was an unfortunate penalty to turn over when Coogin had the ball, and we're looking at 3 tries in quick succession. So,
and it just makes you wonder though if Coogin didn't feel so. Well, I wouldn't say unlucky because some of those boys were playing PBC for Palm Beach Currumbin, so I wouldn't say unlucky. They have had a bad share of injuries, but just getting a little bit of early mail going into this week. They haven't had a solid back line for the whole entire season, and this weekend, apparently, from what I've learned, is going to be no different. I mean, the likes of Joel Hare, I don't think is going to play, and a couple of other boys. Some of them who are going to play out of position even further. It's for me, it's like if Coogin had their best team on the paddock, I reckon they'd win this thing. But I just think that they've just had the most interrupted season out of all the teams that like inside the bubble, I should say. But I wouldn't say border issues has been too much of an issue for them as such. But I think for me also that watching that game the other day, that was so when Coogin actually did get in front before halftime, I reckon they win that game if they just hold on, because after that try was scored, and amongst those try scorers were Josh Ingold, Jackson Rahir getting over for another one. Drew Lanson scored amongst the try scorers for the Raiders. I think they win that game. But it's just that there was one try just before the end of halftime, and that was the circuit breaker. And then Coogin just be like, well, we've done this far to play catch up, and then they dropped off again.
It was a scoreless second half, wasn't it?
That's right, just like in the rugby the other day. That was scoreless too, wasn't it, Mitch?
Yeah, it was. Our boys had a string of yellow cards, so we sort of always had at least one or two defenders down. So we just kind of had to ride out the 40 minutes with 14 or 13 and just try and aim up in defence. And, just kind of galvanised the team a bit, I think. But, yeah.
Yeah. So you said you haven't had it like you, right? The Valley the other day and watched Coogin. So what's your take following just from outside looking in with, say, they're both the Hornets and the Raiders this year, Mitch?
With the Hornets, like you said, the week I saw them play, I think Sam Grant was playing fullback. I think Jake Sands might have been in the centres. I suppose Sands is probably better at fullback, and then Grant can probably lead the side from 5'8" or halfback. But and then obviously Caleb Zeeble, he's probably still getting. He basically missed a year or two of footy, so he's still getting his straps.
He's had to have his knee cleaned out, meniscus apparently. So he's
already had that, has he?
Yeah. Okay. So
his younger brother's coming through. He's a
Connor.
big unit now too.
Yeah. So his mum, who's a big fan of the show.
I know Susie well. Like Susie. Hey, how you going, Susie?
We're getting all the very loyal supporter. So right,
big time.
But she's letting know he might be right for the cricket season, Caleb. So seeing how it all goes there, but he's
pretty handy cricketer too.
He's decent. So, and I mean, just seeing some of the passes he does, looks like he plays from he could throw a ball from about 5K away. So So sorry, Mitch. So you're talking more about Coogin. Anything more about the Raiders? What you like from that?
Raiders, they've had a few injuries too, haven't they?
Yeah, but they're coming back at the right time. Crossy was saying about a week ago. He's like they had all their injuries. They unfortunately lost Guy Lance in that nasty head injury, the first game, like literally the season. And so they're getting all their players back at the right time, while some of these other players are heading down slope a bit. Yeah,
I do notice that they had the little halfback Robinson. He's been back this year.
Yeah, he's been
very handy player.
Yeah.
They got Dom Murray in the centres. Like he's a really good centre.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Dan Willoughby doing his thing. He's probably nearly the best hooker in the comp these days. Yeah. But I like the way Drew plays. He's obviously pretty level head there, and and they've obviously got Luke Toon. Like he was nearly in Cup a few years ago. So and Kale, they're all still there. So they've won a grand final together. I definitely reckon they're probably the favourites.
Yeah, I was just going to say just a bit more about that game I was watching the other day. Like the first go the Raiders had the ball, they automatically went up to the middle of the field. They love playing, just giving themselves up the middle, just bashing it up the center, and then not compensating so much either side so much. They just went. They caught the ball from one corner, and then straight away they run diagonal like 2 o'clock on the clock face, pitch in the middle, and then just bash it up. They rely on their forwards like Kalani, Hensby, Dan Ross. And all the others. And then
it helps when you got wingers as big as front rows, doesn't it?
That's right. And you got Dan
Willoughby.
There's
some big boys in that team.
And Dan Willoughby just knows how to maneuver left to right so well. So it's just up one. And then when they get they went, and it's almost imperative more times than not, they get in the opposition 20. And then that's when they unleash their big, as you said, their big wingers, and that's how they get their points. But I just think the other thing that was a key for that, watching Jalen de Groot in this game, first game back for Coogin after that campaign with the Palm Beach Currumbin High School, whilst he had a fantastic game as well, and he's been the rookie of the year for me, like in the comp throughout. I just thought like when he was playing head to head a bit there with Lyndon McGrady, and I just think even a Jalen de Groot at that point might have just sort of took on it, bit a little bit more than he could chew with Lyndon McGrady, because he had a cracking game. Not saying Jalen de Groot had a bad game at all, but I'm just thinking for a guy that's in his first full year of season taking on Lyndon McGrady, and like McGrady was just kicking, like some of the kicks that he pulls off are just you pay him just to play plays just to watch his kicking game.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So Shori, have you what's your take on Coogee and Raiders just heading into the finals? Just
this Northern Conference, I've been a Southern commentator. I haven't got too much time up north.
Might have to change that, Shori.
Well, I've got a hot tip. I've got a little message in my inbox that says I may be calling a game, potentially heading up on the Tweed Coast this Saturday. I know it's a very competitive comp. I'm disappointed that some of the top teams, for example, Ballina, are not having to challenge themselves against these North Coast comps, because that would really, for me, show how competitive they really are. But yeah, looking forward to these comps, looking forward to next year and all these teams playing each other in a competition. But like you said, it's anybody's comp. What I've seen, I still love the Mustangs if they can get back from these injuries and come back. Yeah, I want to see them play Ballina.
So that was the Tweed comp where another two games decided by less than 10 points, fellas. So, and I said there hasn't been many that's been decided by more than 12, only 2 in the whole campaign. So
I was going through it. The magic number for Tweed Coast is 18. They've scored 18 points in 4 of their games. And the game they didn't score over 18 is when they lost to Murbar, and the other win was 22. So 18 points is Tweed Coast's magic number.
That's their magic number. As I said, they don't tend to run away with games. More so on attack, but they know they're safe as a house when it comes to their defense.
Yeah, they seem very strong defensive sides. And what is there, attack lacking or what? Or why aren't they putting heaps of points on these teams up there?
Mitch, do you want to maybe iterate what you know about the Raiders in that regard?
Well, they've been pretty good for the last couple of years. That team, that year they won the comp, they were devastating. They blew Ballina off the park in that grand final.
That's right. Yeah.
But as long as they've got that little number 7, Robinson, I haven't seen McGrady play yet, but obviously Crossy says pretty good things about him. But
flash.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Raiders come out and obviously change that and probably start piling some points on. But I'm looking forward to see how these teams go in the finals. Now, obviously they played each other a couple of times, but I still reckon Raiders. Yeah, I'll give Raiders the favourite tag, I think.
So we'll just move along now. So the other game, the only game from the Southern Conference, so Morris and Mullum had the bye. Mullum forfeited, so Morris had the bye, I should say. So Northern United versus Bal. That was, let me just get the score. It was 52 points to 12. Talk about a game of 2 halves, fellas. It was 36-0 at halftime to Ballina. So try scorers there. Northern didn't get their 2 tries until the final quarter, by the way. So it was it got out to as far as I think 42,
48, I think it was.
48-0.
Yeah.
Before Northern got those 2 tries. So that was Joey Gordon and Jared C. Liam McClintock. Liam, is that name stands out? Was he part of the Trojans squad as well, or am I thinking of someone else there, Mitch?
No, I don't think so.
I must be thinking of
I think
someone else.
he's played in a few of those junior 18s teams that won 3 or 4 grand finals in a row.
Oh, okay, that could
but I think they're starting to bring some of those guys through now, because I'll probably give Ballina a rap here, but even though they're been a powerhouse for so long, I think from the team that ran out in round 1 to what they got on the field now, they've lost 8 or 9 players as well. So it just shows you they've got the right systems in place and that they're bringing the right people through. And they obviously back their systems and got great coaching and got a good little thing in place.
So they got amongst try scorers too, Liam Anderson, Dwayne Anderson scoring a double, Luke Douglas and Jordan Lee scoring as well. And there was I also see on the list here, Jack Durham came back and played He was playing off the bench, and as well as Rowan Mansfield. So he was one of those under 16. He was only playing under 15s, I think, last year or the year before. So you're just seeing a lot of these under 16s just getting really thrown into the deep end, playing A grade. So probably, as I said,
Good year to do it.
Oh yeah, well
definitely.
Well, this is be the time to bleed all these players in, because I thought we wouldn't see these boys coming in for another couple of years even, but great experience. And this is if nothing else, with this split competition, that's it gives it an opportunity for these players. And so but more so about this game, and I said this last week, that Northern United, I think they've got some of the still, despite looking at this scoreline, they've got some of the great players in the comp, and I said this in numerous podcasts previous, that they have got the players to really threaten and win a title. Their only problem is that the moment, and this is exactly what happened again, the moment they have a couple of tries put up against them, they go in their shell. And what happened in this case, like Northern United were the better team for the first 10 minutes in this game against Ballina. They had the good portion of the ball in Ballina's half. They had one try disallowed, which could have, maybe, given them that bit of momentum. But once Ballina goes and scores a few tries the other end, one thing that was alarming, and this is what happened, not just were they like just sitting down up against one of the goalposts, they, just hands on heads. One thing I noticed when Dwayne Anderson scored a try down the corner, they weren't talking to each other. They were separated. Like so normally when you run in a couple of tries, you get in a huddle. Like, what are we going to do, boys? What are we going to do? You talk.
Someone's got to take charge, don't they?
There was no talk. There was just none. They would just sit there. They were just like hands on heads, hands throw up, like whatever kind of thing. And I just think I just could feel sorry for them, because
it's a shame, because they've had a few good wins this year. I saw them beat Coogin earlier in the year. They beat Maris Brothers at least once. I think Dallas is a really good coach. They've got he's brought in some good players. They've got some guys from Group 2 that have come in, like Ryan Binge and a few of those guys. Obviously, Grant Brown. They were really good players in the Group 2 6 or 7 years ago, and obviously can still go. And I look at their starting 13, it's as good as anyone's. But you just got to get over that Ballina hurdle, don't you?
Yeah, Mitch. It's like here's the thing, and this is one thing I saw in that towards the end when they did get those couple of tries. If they get inside any opposition's 20, they're one of the best teams in the comp to get points off the back of once they finally get there. And now this is where I probably feel they're missing. Like there was like Theo Hippo when they beat Mullumbimby the other week and run up 44 of their own points. Is that they played a good forwards game. So once they actually eventually get inside the opposition 20, and a lot of that they didn't see Ballina's 20-meter line after the first 10 minutes until the end of the game, when the game was the horses bolted, so to speak. But the way they, when they get in that opposition 20, they were one of the best teams. They're probably with Ballina, maybe even sometimes better than Ballina, and when they get in the 20 and get those points. But the other thing I saw with Ballina as well is what they showed. Another reason why they've won so many comps is when they score their tries, they don't, like the vast majority of them, they come off 4 or 5 passes for their teammates. So they just gel. So when they pass it along, the passes stick. And the points come off it. Whilst a lot of teams these days, they just rely on one player and get it out to him and then hope for the best. But I just feel if Northern, I would love to see him string an 80-minute game, because I don't know, maybe once in finals time it might spur him on a bit. But I just feel that
what's the hooker for Ballina's name, the number 9?
Michael DUANE.
Yeah, he played. He was just controlled the whole game from start to finish. I reckon the first 4, if not 5 tries come directly from his dummy half work, and he got held up himself.
Yeah.
And he was taking advantage of. There was a few kind of times where Northern United just didn't have markers, so they were a bit slow under A in there. So he was instrumental to Ballina's win, and like you said, Northern get that slow start like they did, and they're playing catch up. I mean, they had the attack. They were trying a little chips and chase. They were trying to inside flicks and stuff, but maybe just a little bit too early in the game. Yeah. And they won't be worried either. Once it comes to finals, it'll be a different ball game, and they'll switch right back on. And I think,
I wouldn't want to play them in a elimination final week.
Yeah,
one,
exactly.
They're likely to come out and turn it on big time. So
they can, and like that's the thing. Like you see a scoreline like 52-12. It's not really a true reflection because I just think
No.
Northern United, look, no, not taking any away from Ballina. They defended great. They didn't allow Northern United to get inside their 20 metres. But once I just feel Northern, and the other thing was, there was no go for it in defence from Northern. So Ballina they'll let Ballina up the field a lot easier than what they should. It's like they were just there waiting for Ballina whilst Luke Douglas comes in like a runaway freight train and let Michael DUANE. So they allowed Ballina to play their natural football. And so how you beat Ballina is not let them play their natural football like the Raiders did on grand final day. But Shorey, so this is the Southern game. You're the Southern commentator, as you said. What were your thoughts knowing that?
My thoughts, watching Maris versus Northern last weekend, you could just see Northern didn't have the same crispness in their execution, and I was worried about them going up against Ballina the following week. And this scoreline, unfortunately, doesn't surprise me on the performance I saw Northern put in the week before. I just think they're a little bit deflated. It's been a long year, and I think Hip High gets back from injury and they can turn it on. But yeah, I just couldn't have seen there being a match for Ballina after that performance we saw last week.
Okay, so previewing now. So it's round 7 of the Southern Conference. Whilst, as we made mention, it is finals time in the Tweed bubble. And so let's, so the main, let me just look here. So the dressing room got. So Saturday, Blamble and Coogin, they go out again for. Is this the 4th time now, Mickey?
Yeah, it will be the 4th technically. Yeah.
Yeah, technically 4th go. So Blamble won the first one. Coogin won the first one. Blamble won the second one. Third one was a draw. So this is this is the decider, buddy. This is the decider. I know your heart bleeds green, red, and white, mate. But what are we expecting on Saturday?
It's going to be a big day regardless. It's going to be Mitch Spackman's last game. He's announced his retirement this year, or last game in Blamble in the Valley. So it's just going to be a huge day. To be honest, it is what it'll be. What it be like the year that it's been. Whoever wins this game, Coogin versus Blamble, I think will be a bit of a dark horse to kind of go, if not all the way. It's one of those games where you can't confidently tip someone. Like you said, both teams have won a game each, lost a game each, and a 12-all draw. So it's a shame it's elimination and we don't get to see any of these teams further. I'll tip Blamble to win, obviously, but it's not by any confidence or cockiness or anything like that. It's simply because it's going to be at Blamble and it's Spacko's last game. So.
Mitch, who you reckon's going to win between Blamble and Coogin?
At Blamble. Spacko's last game at Blamble.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like you said, it's a shame that one of these teams' season has to end because they're both really good teams, and
right.
Obviously Coogin have probably played more finals that I've seen, and someone like Timmy James, he can sort of pull off anything on his day if he rallies early. But I think Blamble, sort of the year they've had playing at home, they probably don't want Spacko's career to come to an end just yet. So with that, with Ollie Regan fullback, I'll go. I'll tip Blamble.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to go Blamble too. I've been on the wrong side of tipping them several times. Mickey doesn't have too much confidence in this week, but he's had confidence before. Put everything on Blamble and
everything on Blamble.
All the passion fruits.
Do we need to play that video again last week? Do I need to play that video from last week again?
They win by 13 plus.
13 plus.
Shit.
You have to get your mate at the punt to give the odds for that. What do you reckon?
3-1.
13-1. Okay, well I'm going to say Blamble because look, I reckon if Coogin win this game, I'm gonna put something really out of left out here, fellas. Coogin win on this. If Coogin win this game on Saturday, they'll win the whole lot. I think they'll win the whole lot because it's just a matter of I feel out of all the teams, for me, in my opinion, if they have their best 1 to 17 out there week in and week out, I think they win the whole thing. The problem is they
They don't.
haven't had their 1 to 17 net for either game, let alone like there hasn't been one game where they had not had at least 3 or 4 changes, at least positional. So they've had a pretty interrupted season, and it's from what I know, it's going to be the case again this week. Blamble, they're consistent with their lineup, or probably more consistent than Coogin, to say the least. Just the way they played last week, they played last week. They played gritty, and when it comes to finals time, you need gritty. You need a bit of starch, up the center, and just get. Whilst there was a couple of disallowed tries from Blamble, I think 2 to memory. I think they'll play a bit neater footy this week, and I just think Coogin, they'll have the good players out there, but I just think they've just haven't have been able to gel, and no fault of their own because injuries and other commitments. So I'm going to say it'll be Blamble's day, and I'm going to say it by about 8 points. Okay, and so the next game on Sunday, Raiders versus Murbar. Winner will be hosting the Tweed Grand Final in I think it's a fortnight's time, 2 weeks' time after as of Sunday. So, Shorey, who do you like?
I'm just going to back my horse. I'm going Murbar. I like what I've seen. I think they can do it. It's like any one of these games up there. It's anybody's game. Whoever turns out on a Sunday and plays their best.
Okay.
To Murbar.
I was going to say you're so confident with Blamble, but you're going to sit on the fence this time. So you're not a sure thing, Shorey, mate. I thought you'd have a bit more confidence in your tip there.
100% Murbar. Put your house on it.
God. Get a house first, and then you can start betting houses, buddy. Scoop, who do you like?
Yeah, another tough game. Both are obviously finals sort of powerhouses, aren't they, in the last couple of years? I'd be more confident for Murbar if Besgrove was playing. I don't know if that injury was long-term or not, but Toby McIntosh, I saw him score a try the other day. He's a good little player, or he has been for a couple of years now. But, I just think the Raiders might be able to will 18 points be enough? I don't know. They might need to score a couple more. But I think the Raiders, I'll take the Raiders, but, not very confident.
Mickey?
Yeah, well, Raiders are the deserving team to make the grand final first. They've grinded out those games, so it'll be hard not to tip Tweed Coast at Tweed Coast. So 18 points to 14, they'll win.
Okay. So Raiders. So
I'll go 18. They'll win 18-16, I reckon.
Oh, it's going to be a close one. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to have a wreck for it come Monday if that's going to be the case. But no, I'm going to say Raiders as well, only because I think they've been the consistent team throughout the year. Their only one loss was against, of course, Murbar in a close one, and I said this in the call with you, Shorey, had that game gone for another 5 minutes longer, they would have won that too. I just think being at Cabba is going to lift them. I just think not only have they... they're actually opposite of Coogin, where they lost their players from the start of the year. Now they're getting them all back, and I just think they clicked right into solid form. Whilst Murbar, as I said, it all really depends on if Besgrove is playing or not. As I said, like you, Mitch, I don't know what his injury situation is. They field the same teams against Blamble. I think Tweed by double digits.
If they have Joe and Big Remy Vigna and Toby McIntosh all fit and firing, they're a big chance.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. But so if they field a similar team they did against Blamble, I think Tweed by about 10 to 12, maybe even 14, 10, 14 points. But if that was the same team, much closer with Moolumbar. Sorry, for the Mustangs, if they get a few players back. I just think in these big games, you need your leaders. You need your leader. And the fact, as I've said a dozen times with Roy Bell and Casino last year in the prelim final, I just think Tweed, it's their stage. And that's pretty much just be the other deciding factor. So Raiders for me, and to host the grand final, I'm going to also say Blamble will be in the grand final too. I think Blamble, Murbar again. But I mean, that's looking a little bit far ahead, but it's sort of my pick. I know you'd say the same there, Mickey. What about you, Mitch?
Grand final?
Yeah.
Yeah, geez, if Balamb will get it on a bit of a run this and win through, I could definitely see him getting through. Hard not to see Mubar in the grand final though.
Yeah,
they're a
no,
scrappy they're a gritty sort of team. They always find a sort of way, and hard not to picture them being there at the end. But Balamb might be the old fairy tale this year. I don't know.
Yeah, and Shorey, what do you reckon? You reckon? Well, Mervar's going to be in the grand final because you tipped them, but
Yeah. Maybe Murbar, Lamble. I think the fairy tale. Anything can happen. I mean,
it can in this competition. It certainly can.
We're sitting here. We know how close these games have been. Quality performance. Anyone can put it on, turn up the day and make it work.
Absolutely. As I said, Coogin were for me with even though they lost by 4, I thought for the majority of the game, if that was a boxing match, you'd probably think they win on points. They were just like they had majority of the ball, and it's just a couple of their couple of their opportunities they probably didn't make the most of, which is probably where they're missing some of these players and missing the structure. That's why I had more solid structure. They get those points, they win. They're the ones that because it was only a few weeks ago where they were on top of the ladder of this little 4-team competition. So you never know. So we can't wait to see what transpires from the weekend. So there's only one other game in the Southern Conference. They're at round 7. So their finals don't kick in for another couple of weeks yet. So it's going to be, I reckon it's going to be a good game as well. The Maris Brothers and Casino out at Crazy Rove and Lismore on Sunday. So Maris Brothers, they clicked into form after beating Northern United by about 20-odd points. I think it was 22 to memory. Casino, as I said, only if they had another 4 or 5 weeks of the competition, they would be making a little bit of a late surge because I think that they're starting to gel in a good back line and good forward pack and got those good young players. Going to be a close game, but I think Marist, but it'll be closer than what it was in round 1 because I think Marist took them to task at Casino by about 30, 40 points, but I think this is going to be within about, I'd say more than a try, but less than 2. So I'll say about 8 points. Scoot?
Yeah, I came in to watch Maris Brothers play in Northern a fortnight ago. And I think you're right. I think Maris Brothers are starting to hit their straps a bit now, aren't they? With on that left edge, that Josh Patson, he's just devastating out on that edge. Yeah. Hard to contain once he gets a bit of momentum. Jacob Follant in the halves, he's been back a couple of years now. Steering him around pretty well. Then, of course, you've got the X factor at the back. Trousey, he can score 2. He might let in 1, but he'll score 2 or 3. Yeah. So, but yeah, like you said with Casino, good young kids like Dane Petty, Joe Olive in the halves, Noah King, getting a bit more experience, but they're probably just a couple of players short this year. But I think Maris Brothers might win and start having a real look at Ballina in a few weeks and see how they're going to line up there.
Now, because there's 5 teams in the comp, in their comp, and 4 go in and play their finals. I don't know what the rules are with if you're going to play X amount of games and transfer rules, and especially for this year. But with the borders opening back up to our region next week, and they've got one more, they probably won't have any players then. But can you imagine, say, if it was open slather? And I know Mickey's trying not to hear this because of Oliver Regan and Hayden Hanson. He's worried that they'll shift back down to Ballina. But can you imagine, not so much in the Northern Comp, but how much Southern finals would be strengthened with some of these players that are missing out? They even say Andrew Batiste or someone can go run on the jersey for Ballina to a cameo. But although he's very recent in a Byron jersey, I don't know how well they'll look. But just. What would you think, these players that aren't signed up to Gold Coast rugby league teams at the moment, how good they would be to have a stronger final series?
Yeah, well, there'd be nothing stopping them from coming back, I wouldn't think, if it's all legit, the borders and that. But I couldn't imagine Berger walking into coming back to play for Ballina or anything. But
no.
Yeah, I don't think it'll change too much. Mullum might sort of come home with a bit of a wet sail if they get a few back because they've sort of been decimated by that. They're done. They're forfeit.
Are they done for the year?
Yeah,
they might have forfeited for the year. So what's 4 teams in the comp?
Yeah, okay. So what's happened is they pulled the pin against. They were supposed to play Ballina. They've pulled the pin, and they've got the bye the next week. So, and now I think they're sitting at the bottom at the moment. So they're basically null and void after this. So you basically got your finals. It's just a matter if Northern they shouldn't finish any lower than 3rd. I don't think. So you think that's going to be your first week there, Morris and Northern. They both play at Crozier. They share the ground. and Ballina would play Casino and Ballina. But
No, it'd be one versus two, I think, wouldn't it?
I think it's 1 versus 4 in that one. It's 1 versus 4.
Right, okay.
It's 1 versus 4 in and 2 versus 3 in that one. So, yeah, I know it's a little bit confusing, but I've read the email about 10 times just to make sure that everything's at. So it is 1 versus 4, and then I think whoever the top 2 teams going to the next week, and so what was it going to make? So I think it's winner takes all at both games. There's no second chances actually, and then that the next week will be the grand final. So
okay.
Yeah, so it's only a 2-week final series. But with that being said, it would just like I don't think Casino lost too many players. It would just probably help maybe your Northern United or Marist even more. I think Ballina. I know they've lost a swag of players. I think Nicholas Ritter's now playing for Runaway Bay. I think I saw a team sheet there last week. So some of these boys from Ballina are already going to be stitched up in the Goldie comp, so they're not going to leave there. But maybe it might help a Northern or a Maris Brothers.
Yeah, I know Brothers lost Hugh Pratt and a couple of others who they thought they were going to have this year because just to that border thing. But yeah, things change. I don't know if they'd get him back or not, or I'm not sure. But I think it'll probably stay the same at this point.
Yeah, you're probably right. Sorry, Mickey. So what was your pick for Marist and Casino?
I'll pick Marist there. They played well last week. They've had the week off, and I think they'll come out firing against Casino. Where's it played at?
Crozier in Lismore.
Yep. Yeah, go Marist.
Sure, you're the Southerner expert. You spent a bit of time out at Casino. You got the vibe. If you talk to any of the locals there on their week off that they had and how things are going, or you just there just think beers?
No, I went out to their home field and checked conditions, took a few grass samples, and I brought them back into my laboratory in Byron Bay.
Sat there and watched the Greyhounds too, no doubt.
I do, but watching Marist against Northern, I think they're going to be too strong for Casino this week. As much as I'd love to see Casino get up.
Yeah, so
it'll be a close one, but Marist, I think are going to be too good.
Yeah, I think it'll be closer than the first round. I just think that was when, that was like when the Borders situation really kicked in, and so at least now that things are looking up, no community transmission in New South Wales either, so I think things are starting to open up a little bit better too. So as I said,
how many times have you been tested, Dwayne?
Hey, actually I haven't had to have a test yet, so don't jinx it.
Hope you're not patient zero.
Mate, that's just look at that face. Can you trust that face there?
Bubble boy.
Oh, don't give me this bubble boy crap. Mate, like seriously, like, what are you doing wearing that shirt out at Newrybar? Like, that's not the Newrybar dress code.
Lobsters. We've just got a couple of big yabbies down in the creek, and we're boiling them up. They're gonna be delicious.
Yeah,
I'll give you a bite. I'm on a photo.
Yeah, mate. I'll be hanging at Pottsville one more weekend in the Tweed bubble before I can go and be a proper Queenslander. So it'll be good, mate.
Oh, it'd be great. Yeah.
So Mitchy, it looks like, are you still before we wrap up here? Are you still in celebration mode? What was the vibe down at Lennox? It's probably a stupid question in a way, but were people behaving themselves, or you look like you're
Yeah, I'm still a bit red now, I think, from being out in the sun for 3 days. But it was hard this year because obviously the town gets right behind it here, and you've got 1,000 people that want to celebrate, and you can only have 20 people in a room. So
yeah, I know.
we just did it the best we could. We booked some tables at the bowling club, had dinner there. Then from about 10 o'clock Saturday, everyone went their separate ways and did their own things. I better not say sort of too much, but the team was together. The two teams were together for.
Yeah.
Mitch, did you play? Did you play in the grand final? Do you play for?
No. I started the year playing a bit of Reggies.
Yep.
But I did my hemi at training about midway through. So in a short season, that was kind of curtains this year.
Yeah.
But, once I did that, I ramped up the social media coverage, and our captain coach in Reggie's was playing, so I sort of became second grade assistant coach and ran the bench and looked after the game day stuff, which was good. I've never done that before, so
it's hard to just stay away completely, isn't it? Once you're
I hadn't played for a couple of years, but I know this year I kind of went back mainly because I was going to play a bit, and then I actually wasn't going to play, and then COVID hit, and all of a sudden I had some spare time, so it was pretty good to get back in the social setting, and even though I only played a couple of games, it was just good to be back in that club environment. And
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, good year to go back because we had a great year, and good time to be at the Trojans. So.
But
cool.
I tell you what, though, you're saying something about you had about 1,000 people wanting to be there, and obviously couldn't because of the crowd restrictions and stuff. And I was saying the other day, it was such a sought after prize just to get in through the gates. But what was so intriguing about, and I want to give another shout out to illustrious leader and Mark Goff, our producer. He's been an absolute legend for this year. He's basically he saved the competition on a production scale because he allows. Like, can you imagine what that would have been like without anyone thinking of this live stream thing that we do and unable to, like, this was obviously before COVID and stuff. But I just want to share a little bit of insight about it. So I had the Walling Bar Tavern, which was booked to capacity, and Scoop confirmed this year had not one but two places in Lennox that were at capacity. Had the Bowling Club and Lennox Hotel. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So can you imagine it gives these people that can't be at a game, whatever, to allow to do that, and that's what pumps us.
We had a Pommy front row, so it streamed back in England. All his crew saw it.
That's right, and I think I might even give a shout out to. I did give a shout out for someone from the UK there, so I forget the name, but but I walked through the gates on Saturday, and I had no less than 5 people come up to me who I've who are not known to the other, just giving us thanks and appreciation, and it just hits here and it just makes us, spurs us on to keep doing what we do. Like, I had a bloke come up all the way from Burke, who watched all the rugby and the league, and he came out for the game, and he was one of the lucky 500 that got in, but he just said, like, I can't imagine what it would be like if we didn't have this on offer. And now, so for Goffy, who is not making a single cent in profit this year, is putting this on so everyone can, it gives a little bit of, whilst you can't be at the games, it makes sure you don't miss out on too much. And also for the people who are living in Melbourne and all that, who can't even go 5Ks up the road, and that's what sort of makes it. It motivates me personally to do what we do here and put on even this podcast. So
well, like you said, we had 2 grades make it, and we got allocated, I think, 125 tickets. So you're taking 2 grades. There's half your thing, and the guys are having to decide whether to invite mum or dad or their girlfriend. You only really had a +1, but we kind of got everyone in there that needed to get in there. But we would have got 6 or 7 times that. We would have got probably over 1,000 people from Lennox alone if it was not the way it was. So thanks for doing all the finals and that. So you've enhanced the coverage that much, and obviously a lot of people wouldn't have seen it. We can have that. We've got that's there forever now, so we can all go. We went to the pub. We went to Lennox pub at 10 o'clock on the Sunday, and we had the replay on the big screen, so you can relive it over and over. And
my voice didn't give you more of a headache with your hangovers and stuff. I hope I didn't.
No. It was.
I did my best.
It was all good. It was all good.
But just I always say encourage to get the game. But this year, support the live stream, and let us like support what we do, because we do it for you guys and this podcast as well. So just get behind it and just give us a shout out. And as I said, subscribe to this sort of stuff, because we do it for you guys when this is what spurs us on. And no doubt during the final series, we aim to do that. Okay, lads. So I got to pack 3 days worth of stuff. So I'm out of here, and then I'm got the game on Sunday. So guys, and so Scoop, you're going to be out at the Valley on Saturday, or are you coming out to Tweed Sunday, or what's happening?
I reckon I'll do Saturday for sure.
Okay, so Mickey will hook you up at the bar, no doubt.
Yeah. No, looking forward to it. I'll
Okay.
definitely do that. And thanks for having me too, guys.
Absolutely.
Obviously,
Get you on again.
I'm
on
no-
one of these other. We have to get you on again.
I'm no Nathan Cross, but I'll
Yeah,
definitely
no,
contribute
no,
something.
no. Well, I'll tell you what. It's
You're
I'll tell you what.
much better looking.
If this bloke here on your right there wants to have another bludge night, I know I can give you a call there. No, Craig, no problems.
Well, I've still got plenty of spare time for another couple of weeks, so yeah.
We'll get you on before the finals finish anyway. We'll go for grand final or something. We'll
See how we
we'll give this guy another
see how
night off so he can
everything's
go to the secret spot at Newry Bar.
see how it's all going. No, thanks again, guys.
No,
No
anytime.
worries.
So Mickey, enjoy Saturday, brother, and we'll have a chat.
I'll probably
during
be
the
out there Sunday as well.
week. Also, we'll probably see you out there Sunday as
Yeah.
well. And Shorey, behave yourself. Hey.
Look forward to it. I'll try my best, DUANE. Thanks for your time.
That was DUANE podcast number 17, and that was NRRRL chat number 10. Sort of got a bit of rugby in there too, but we thought it was necessary having that. Enjoy polishing that wood that was soaked in Wollongbar dust for the last 6 years there. Scoop.
Long time.
Okay, DUANE podcast number
on ya.
17 in the books. As I subscribe on Instagram, on YouTube, and if you want to listen to an audio version, go over to Spotify and iTunes. Until then, enjoy the footy on the weekend. Catch it all on Mark Off Media. Until then, have a good night.